Roll A, take A.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for this special half-hour edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Charity Clemitis.
And I'm John Battiston. For the next 30 minutes, we will bring you stories making headlines at Virginia Tech and in the New River Valley. In the first half of our newscast, we will look specifically at stories related to Virginia Tech campus and community.
And later, in the show, we will turn our attention to the news around the New River Valley. But first, Virginia Tech headlines. On February 7th, there were accusations that a Virginia Tech student placed 2 hidden cameras in bathroom stalls on campus. The case ended in an agreement for the students to perform community service and continue counseling sessions. Newsfeed reporter Maria Berkowitz tells us more in this story.
Andrew Wildman was arrested in February after 2 hidden cameras were found in Newman Library and Eggleston Hall. One of the cameras was disguised as a coat hook and the other a USB charger. Virginia Tech student and Eggleston Hall resident Emily Dunn says that this case has prompted students to be more cautious of their surroundings.
For my safety on campus, I'm definitely going to observe around more, and I definitely feel a little weary around, especially public bathrooms and stuff. I'm going to check outlets and stuff, make sure that before I enter a place it's completely safe before I go to the bathroom or change or anything.
After entering a plea agreement, Wildman will be found guilty of trespassing instead of unauthorized filming of a nude person. In order to receive the trespassing conviction, he must complete 100 hours of community service, continue counseling, and avoid any further criminal charges. Virginia Tech Chief of Police Kevin Faust believes this case was brought to justice.
You know, he's being given the opportunity to work this off, so to speak, with 100 hours of community service. And then if he stays out of trouble for a year, then they'll enter the plea for the trespassing rather than the other. So I can see a benefit to him in that particular case. I mean, he's going to have a record regardless. And so, hopefully this was a one-time thing and he has learned a valuable lesson and we won't see that type of behavior from him again.
Faust suggests to be aware, inquisitive, and trust your gut and speak up if you see something that seems out of place on campus. This has been Maria Berkowitz reporting for the Newsfeed.
Establishments are always trying to make more areas handicap accessible. Though the population of physically disabled students at Virginia Tech is small, one student shines light on what it's like being a student and someone restricted to a wheelchair. Here's Newsfeed reporter Taylor Purdue with more on that story.
Has been restricted to a wheelchair his whole life due to cerebral palsy. However, that hasn't held him back from maintaining a great college experience like other students. Trent says that Tech is great about making places handicap accessible. He also says the students here have always been kind and helpful.
I've never had, unless somebody had headphones in or was in clearly a rush to get somewhere, which I totally get, I've never had somebody not hold a door open or not say, can I help you with something? I think the spirit of ootprosum is definitely here in a good way.
Trent mentions that he's never felt left out of anything or missed things in life. It's just how his life is, and he's used to it. Being a student in college is difficult enough, and we often take for granted everyday luxuries, and students like Trent have to deal with them every day. Trent's close teacher in his major, Charles Dye, shines light on what it's like to teach a student that's handicapped, and especially in a major that is so hands-on, like with theater and cinema arts.
Even though he's handicapped, it never comes up. I've never even thought too much about it. It's good to be considerate, but we've never had to make really any significant changes for Trent.
Trent says that the services for students with disabilities has been a major help in helping him and his teachers have a normal college experience. I'm Taylor Purdue, reporting for the Newsfeed.
In 2 short months, downtown Blacksburg will lose a long-standing gym, Mish Mish. A self-proclaimed one-stop shop for art, design, and architecture supplies is closing in July. Steve and Debbie Miller started Mish Mish as a school project as third-year architecture students at Virginia Tech 49 years ago. Little did they know that their project would soon become an integral part of school culture of architecture and design. 5 fourth-year architecture students developed a plan to reinvent the concept of the student supply store. Kaylee Day, one of the 5 students, explains her plan.
We decided that we are going to bring the supply store into the architecture school, or move it closer to the architecture school and have it run by the architecture school. So sort of for the students, by the students. And so we came up with the idea of making bundles that sort of pre-package all of the supplies that you need for that class.
Their plan even includes an app so students can browse through available supplies, selecting either pick up in store or store delivery. Although their plan will not be implemented immediately, it remains a possibility for the future. The dairy industry in the United States faces decline due to consecutive years of lower milk prices, along with the increasing production of milk substitutes. The future of the dairy industry looks grim to those still in it and the younger generations that plan to join it. As Newsfeed reporter Sarah Gordon tells us, with the help of Virginia Tech's Department of Dairy Science, promoting the dairy industry and educating students about its top priority.
The Department of Dairy Science is unique as it is a standalone department, which allows it to offer more to its students in terms of education, hands-on experience, and extracurricular opportunities. The timeline of a student in the Dairy Science program begins by learning about the industry and the issues within it, followed by a science focus including lactation, dairy handling, and judging, and ending with an emphasis on management and understanding all aspects of a dairy enterprise.
So from the beginning, you're kind of building on all of the knowledge that you have, and at the end, you have enough skills to either go work on a farm as a manager, or manage a farm's financials, or do research too.
When it comes to addressing industry issues, the department tries to keep it in a positive light and encourages students to look into finding potential solutions. Dr. Alex White, a professor in the department, explains how his entrepreneurship in animal agriculture keeps students thinking outside of the box.
Get across to them creative thinking outside the norm, try and teach them basic business principles, because for most of them it's the only business class they've had so far.
As students consider opportunities within the industry, the department emphasizes that there is more to it than just milking cows.
Despite current industry statistics, the future looks bright for the students who are devoted to joining it, as the Department of Dairy Science currently holds 100% placement of graduating seniors. Reporting for the Newsfeed, I'm Sarah Gordon.
Another area of growth Virginia Tech is hoping to accomplish is sending students abroad. The Global Education Office at Virginia Tech helps 1,200 students study abroad every year, and they would like to see that number increase. Some students who have an interest in studying abroad worry that they cannot afford the experience, and therefore don't pursue it. However, Marielle Vainons, the Assistant Director of Student Services in the Global Education Office, helps clear up this misconception.
So students have a choice to choose from about close to 300 universities that they can go for a whole semester at the cost of their in-state tuition.
There are a number of exchange programs, scholarships, and universities that help students make studying abroad affordable. Students are encouraged to explore all options before ruling it out. Stay with us. There's more ahead in this special half-hour edition of the Newsfeed.
Coming up, a look at how some students across college campuses, including Virginia Tech, are using an unprescribed drug to try to get an advantage to studying for exams.
And an update on what's going on in Virginia Tech sports. We'll tell you about the achievements of some student athletes.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
Welcome back to the Newsfeed. When it comes to the end of the semester, many college students are host to textbooks that they were required to buy for certain classes, but will never find the use for them again. Bookholders is a business that allows anyone to sell textbooks to them at any time of the year. The only reason bookholders would not buy back a book is if there are loose bindings, ripped pages, and over 50% underlining, highlighting, or writing. Also, a common misconception is that the bigger the book, the more it is worth. And some students who sell their bulky textbooks don't think they get enough money in return. Bookholders employee Evan Stein explains more on this.
It always depends on the class. Usually if if a professor uses the same book for maybe a couple years, then yes, those textbooks would be better for selling here because they would have a higher value.
If someone sells back their book, they can either choose cash now, which would grant them immediate cash for their books, or they can put it on Advantage. Putting it on Advantage will require the seller to wait longer for a check in the mail until their book sells, but they will likely get more money. Back this way.
Adderall usage has increased among young adults, particularly college students. It has become more common for students without ADHD to ask their friends with a prescription if they could use their medication. Newsfeed reporter Sebastian Alvarez tells us more on this next story.
Adderall is prescribed to individuals to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, more commonly referred to as ADHD. For those with ADHD, it helps increase their ability to pay attention, stay focused, and even control certain behavioral problems. Dr. Mike Berg, a drug chemistry professor at Virginia Tech, explained how Adderall, also dubbed the study drug, is a stimulant and decades back was used as a restorative for combating fatigue or for military purposes.
The usage of Adderall is growing among young adults. According to the National Center for Health Research, approximately 2.5 million Americans are prescribed prescription stimulants such as Adderall to treat ADHD. A study of more than 10,000 college students from across the country found that more than half of the students with an Adderall prescription were asked to sell the medication to their friends.
Young adults, especially college students who don't have a prescription, might ask their friends who have a prescription to sell it to them in hopes that it will help with their workload and studying.
I was prescribed Adderall my sophomore year of college when I was diagnosed with ADHD. Ever since I got that prescription, especially during finals weeks, I have a lot of friends and even people I don't really know that well ask me if I can give them some of my prescription.
The misuse of Adderall has led to trips to the emergency room for many young adults who don't know the risks. In fact, Adderall has more risks than many other commonly used medications. With informational campaigns across college campuses addressing the misuse of Adderall, the risks of the study drug for those without a prescription are being made aware. This is Sebastian Alvarez reporting for the Newsfeed.
While the football and basketball teams get the most attention from Virginia Tech fans, it's the Virginia Tech softball team that is having the best season of them all. What makes it even more impressive is that they have done it while defying expectations. There wasn't much to cheer for last season at Tech Softball Park, as the Hokies finished at the bottom of the ACC. But with a new season came a new coach and new opportunities, and the Hokies have taken full advantage. 45 wins later, the once hapless Hokies are the ACC Coastal Division champs. DeMoore and the Hokies aren't done yet. Next up on their improbable run is the NCAA softball tournament, where they will attempt to make the College World Series for the first time since 2008. Amanda Hollinsworth's career at Virginia Tech has been a tale of firsts. First member of the inaugural women's golf team, first win in school history, and first Virginia Tech player to qualify for the U.S. Women's Open. Hollinsworth has tried for the U.S. Open for the last 8 years before finally securing a spot this year. She credits her confidence and the hard work she has put into her game as the reason this time was different.
I think my confidence was what was different. You know, I just went in and I played myself. I didn't play the rest of the field. I tried to just focus on my golf game and what I was doing.
The Hokies are competing in regionals in Norman, Oklahoma before Hollinsworth makes her first U.S. Open appearance at the end of the month. The U.S. Open will take place in Charleston, South Carolina, May 30th through June 3rd. The Video Production Department of Virginia Tech Athletics, also known as Hokie Vision, provides students the opportunities to get hands-on experience and prepares them for a future career in sports production.
Students can get involved as production assistants, student interns, and graduate assistants. Student interns and graduate assistants both provide scholarships as compensation for their work. Newsfeed reporter Hannah Baumgartner has more.
From the sidelines to the control room, many don't know that it is often students behind the scenes for Virginia Tech Athletics. Hokie Vision is responsible for all sports broadcasts, the recording of practices for player improvement, hype videos, and much more. Mary Desmond spent her undergrad working for Hokie Vision as a student intern. This program offered her the ability to earn a scholarship, and she is now a graduate assistant for Hokie Vision.
I learned a lot about management, project management. I learned about leadership and how that works into sports athletics. Game day in Lane Stadium, checking the Jumbotron for a replay of that last touchdown. You can find students like Mary Desmond as well as the rest of the Hokie Vision team right inside Merriman's Athletic Center in the control room, making sure that every play is covered from all angles.
Amanda Rutledge also went through the graduate assistantship and now works full-time as the ACC network coordinator for Hokie Vision. Rutledge works with the students on a daily basis and says none of it would be possible without their help.
Short term, we really just want to get this network off the ground and get everybody ready, get all of our students in with all of these ESPN people so that they can meet all of these connections and help them get jobs later on.
A brand new control room in South End Zone is set to open this year. Rutledge is looking forward to learning the new equipment alongside her Hokie Vision team. Reporting for the news feed, this is Hannah Bumgarner.
Well, that wraps up our look at some of the stories making news in the Virginia Tech community. Stick around, there's more ahead.
Coming up, a look at some top stories in the New River Valley. Our newsfeed cohorts Missy Powell and Maria Berkowitz are standing by in the newsroom, and they will take you through the second half of this newscast. Missy and Maria?
Thanks, John. That's right. We'll be switching gears, turning our focus to the New River Valley.
Yes, and some of the stories just ahead are a look at efforts to revitalize and advocate for towns in the New River Valley. And with the rescue of individuals from a Virginia cave recently, we'll find out some precautions to take when deciding to go cave exploring.
So stay with us. We'll be back after the short break.
Roll A, take A.
Hello, and welcome back to the second half of this special half-hour edition of the Newsfeed. I'm Missy Powell.
And I'm Maria Berkowitz. In the first half of our newscast, we looked at Virginia Tech stories that are making headlines. And now we turn our attention to the news around the New River Valley area. Recently, 5 men were rescued from a Cyclops cave in Russell County, Virginia, after being trapped in the cave for over 48 hours. The incident has led local caving experts and rescue volunteers to emphasize the importance of safety while caving in and around the New River Valley area. Newsfeed reporter Ava Bergdorf has more.
The New River Valley offers plenty of opportunities to get in touch with nature, including a number of caves to explore. However, caving can be dangerous when not done carefully, as demonstrated by a rescue of 5 men trapped in a cave in Russell County on Sunday, April 28th. The Blacksburg Volunteer Rescue Squad, including volunteer Eric Hahn, were among the first to respond to the emergency.
We had cavers in the cave then around 10 a.m. And then between 10 a.m. and approximately 6 p.m. Is how long it took for us to enter the cave, rig the cave, get all 5 of them out.
If you do plan on going caving, it's important to take proper safety precautions. Taryn Woke, president of VPI Cave Club, has some specific advice.
Always have a source of light. You always want to have at least 3. And then wearing a helmet is incredibly important, which were both issues that we had in this cave rescue, where they were splitting one hard hat between 6 people, and they only had a few flashlights.
This is Ava Bergdorf reporting for the Newsfeed.
The town of Blacksburg, known for its sense of community, security, and walkability, has experienced multiple pedestrian motor vehicle collisions over the past few years. This has called into question what the town is doing to ensure the safety of its walkers, bikers, and drivers. The most recent accident involved a woman hit by a car crossing Patrick Henry Drive with severe injuries that left her in a coma. Caitlin Hoyne, a Blacksburg resident, was involved in a motor vehicle collision whilst on her bike and thinks there's more that can be done to make all modes of transportation safer.
So I believe that if there's better infrastructure for pedestrians and bikers, the amount of accidents that happen could potentially be decreased by a lot.
On the first Tuesday of every month, the Town Motor Company building houses Blacksburg's very own traffic committee in partnership with the Blacksburg Police Department to discuss improvements that can be made, such as the addition of crosswalks. The committee takes feedback from Blacksburg residents and assesses current crossing infrastructure. They hope to use their budget to conduct traffic studies to make life in Blacksburg safer for pedestrians in the future. Small towns of Virginia have been disappearing due to lack of jobs and funding. Pulaski has slowly been fading away over the past few years. However, they have recently started to revamp their downtown area. With the town hosting events, bringing in new residents, and opening new restaurants, the town hopes to bring their little community back to life. Newsfeed reporter Dana Siegelstein has more in this next story.
Southwest Virginia's towns are not the same as they once were. They are trying to stay afloat and compete with the bigger markets. Pulaski is taking a stand and looking to revitalize their historic buildings and bring more residents to the region.
We received almost $700,000 to revitalize West Main Street. We will be improving 15 facades on the buildings downtown. We'll be doing street improvements, wayfinding signage, and just doing a general overhaul on that block of downtown.
With the revitalization in full swing, there's currently construction going on with a new restaurant and virtual reality venue looking to appear in the next couple of months.
Our staff has done a monumental job of not only getting the projects going, but following the grant processes and finding all the money that's out there that you can get for this thing, because there's so much money put aside for this kind of projects.
Just this week, Pulaski was announced to be one of the 15 communities selected to be involved in Local Foods, Local Places, a federal enterprise that helps communities reinvest in their neighborhoods and expand quality of life as they progress in the local food economy.
Yourself a place where people want to spend their time. That's what I see us becoming, is a place where we all want to be here, not because it's a factory down the street that we work in, but because we like it here.
While this is an ongoing process, Pulaski is constantly seeking change and attempting to bring more people into the New River Valley. This is Dana Siegelstein reporting for the Newsfeed.
The Alexander Black House is one of Blacksburg's most iconic landmarks. While the unique red and green Victorian-style architecture catches the eye of many passerby, not all are familiar with the building's historical and cultural significance. Alexander Black, the creator of Blacksburg's original 16 squares, designed and lived in this house since the early 1900s. In 2001, the town of Blacksburg purchased the house and converted it to the Blacksburg Museum and Cultural Foundation. The museum's goal is to preserve the Blacks' legacy and educate the public on the town's rich history through events and exhibits.
Our exhibits are constantly changing. We do a cultural or historic exhibit that usually lasts about 4 months.
Currently on display is the color exhibit that features local artist Darcy Meeker. The museum is undergoing renovations, but is still open to the public. Stay with us, there are more stories just ahead.
We'll learn about a workout trend called boutique fitness and find out what sets it apart from conventional health and wellness routines.
Plus, a new restaurant opens in the area that offers only vegan and gluten-free foods on the menu. That story and more after this break.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the Newsfeed. Fitness trends are increasing day by day, but have you ever heard of a fitness boutique? Their popularity has increased over the years, and especially in the NRV. Newsfeed reporter Nicole Gabe has more on the story.
Fitness trends are increasing through social media, word of mouth, and people wanting a simple and fast workout. So why are they so popular? Many people say that these workouts are specific and target their needs rather than going to a conventional gym.
I would rather pay for a fitness boutique just because it's more intimate and it's like a personal trainer experience because it's smaller classes rather than going to the gym and just doing a workout on my own or getting sick of the workouts that I do at the gym. It's every time I go to Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness Studio, and every workout is different every week.
Boutique fitness centers have increased over the NRV area and are becoming the norm. However, there are people who rather go to a conventional gym than pay hundreds of dollars each month.
As a college student, boutique fitness studios are fairly expensive. It's a monthly recurring charge. So sometimes you forget about it and then you check that bank statement and it's a minus $100 to $200 fee out of that bank account. As a college student where you don't have an income coming in, I think it's a lot to handle. And you know, someday when I'm working and I have a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, that's something that's a lot more feasible.
People are always in the run nowadays and prefer a small workout class rather than going to a gym or a run outside.
I think millennials are definitely gravitating towards fitness boutiques just because it's easier and everyone's always on the run and wants to be efficient and just to get it over with.
This is Nicole Gabe reporting for the newsfeed.
Having an allergy while in school can be a hard thing to handle, especially when one is exposed to different foods on a daily basis. However, the Montgomery County Public Schools and daycares take extra precautions to ensure the safety of their students. Local teachers say they have seen an increase in students who have peanut, dairy, and shellfish-related allergies. The Blacksburg daycare makes efforts in preventing allergic reactions by banning certain foods from entering the classroom.
What we do is if someone brings in something that has peanuts in it or another type of tree nut, we just kind of take it out of the room or ask them to leave it in their backpack, or we don't serve it. If it's an adult bringing it in for the other kids to have snack, we just say that we can't serve that.
Additional preventative measures include cleaning the classrooms consistently and giving students hand sanitizer throughout the day. If teachers are providing snacks, options for the students include fruit, Cheerios, and Sun Butter. Whelan claims that implementing these measures have helped prevent a lot of accidents. There's a place in the New River Valley that can cater to people with food allergies. Sweet Rebellion, a completely gluten-free and vegan bakery, recently opened its doors. Once a bakery stand at the Blacksburg Farmers Market, is now a store in downtown's Blacksburg. Sharon Kianka opened Sweet Rebellion for those who share a struggle for finding options in a small town. The store provides treats ranging from brownies to marmalade and carrot cake. Kianka aims to not only be inclusive of those with dietary needs, but also show that vegan and gluten-free foods can be just as delicious.
Well, what I'm hoping for is that, for the community that is vegan and also the people who are gluten sensitive, that they'll have a place that they can go and not worry about any kind of problems with, the foods that they can choose from our shop.
Sweet Rebellion hopes to eventually expand their menu beyond desserts and find its place among the downtown Blacksburg community.
The Farmers Market in downtown Christiansburg has just opened up for its new season. Every Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m., shoppers can gather to buy fresh goods from vendors across the New River Valley area. Newsfeed reporter Liam Dushell has more.
The Farmers Market, located on Hickok Street in downtown Christiansburg, offers a variety of goods ranging anywhere from fresh produce to wines. Still relatively new to the Christiansburg area, the market is still in the growing stages. Grateful Bread owner Barbara Gillespie sees a big year ahead.
It grows. The first few years it wasn't such a big deal. Now it's a really big deal. So this market is my third year doing it, and I feel like it's turning the corner year. It's bringing people to downtown.
Stanburn Wine's co-owner David Stanley tells me about the marketing opportunities it provides to vendors.
Setting up at a farmer's market is just meeting people. So part of it's selling, but part of it's also marketing our business, who we are as a family, what we're doing, getting people to come to our winery.
Stanley says what makes the farmers market unique is a more engaging, interactive experience that won't be found anywhere else.
The hard thing about a grocery store is your bottle's just sitting on a shelf, so nobody knows anything except what the label looks like. So the nice thing about a farmer's market is somebody can come up and ask questions, talk to you about what it is, what you get out of it, dry or sweet or different things like that.
The mission of the Christiansburg Market is to provide access to healthy, agriculturally based products to the Christiansburg community. This is Liam Dushell reporting for the Newsfeed.
That will wrap up this special edition of the Newsfeed, a look at stories making headlines in the New River Valley and at Virginia Tech.
The Newsfeed will be going on a hiatus for a few months, but we'll be returning in the fall with a new group of journalists and a new crop of stories to keep you up to date about what's going on with Virginia Tech and the New River Valley area.
While we are away, if you have a story idea, send us an email at thenewsfeednrv@gmail.com, and you can connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Berkowitz.
And I'm Missy Powell. For all of us at the Newsfeed, we hope you enjoy the rest of spring and have a wonderful summer.